Rio Ferdinand, thank you for joining us today. Let's start with the book, your new book, which I've got in my hot little hand here. It does say it's my decade as a Red, so I gather it's mostly about the Manchester United days. Can you reveal any juicy anecdotes that we don't know about that's in the book?
It's just got obviously it's mainly a picture book, but with a lot of obviously text in there as well, and it just brings out the emotions behind a few of the pictures in there. Obviously that within that you can put your iPad or your iPhone on top of a picture, and then a video will come out around that picture type thing. So it's the first in that sense, but it's more than just the score was 1-0 and we played so it's a little bit more depth in terms of the emotions around games or certain scenarios that have happened within that time at Man United. Okay,
so we'll have a good look at it. What inspired the name Rio, by the way?
A river, Rio Grande. So my mum and dad came up with it, and I'm thankful. It's a bit individual, which I like.
Rio, you've been a professional footballer now for just about 20 years, during which the game has undergone many changes. What have been the most profound changes in your time?
I'd say the diet, the professionalism, and the speed of the game are probably the three most glaring changes that I've seen. When I was younger, diet wasn't really taken into consideration. You could have a fry up on the Friday before the game Saturday, spaghetti bolognese with a fried egg on top of it on a Friday at the training ground at West Ham wasn't uncommon. I had McDonald's a few times a week. Maybe it was my age as well, but a lot of the other senior players was going out drinking, the culture was different. Nowadays, your diet is very important. It's not as strict, you have to eat this and drink this, but we as players, we take it upon ourselves to make sure we're eating the right things at the right times, the right amounts. But the speed of the game as well is such a big difference. It's so much quicker now. There's no time on the ball, the game's up and down. And if you want to live a party lifestyle, then the Premier League at the top level, when you want to win things, isn't the place to be. You can't go there because you'll get left behind, and each day in training there's people that are putting their lives towards playing football. They're not doing that, so you stand out.
Now, much of those changes underwent or happened during Alex Ferguson's era, of course. He was recently voted by World Soccer magazine as the best ever manager or coach in the world of all time. What made this man so special, so outstanding as a manager?
I think his desire. He had desire of someone who hadn't achieved anything. He had the desire to be in at work before anyone was there, the desire to leave when everyone's gone, detail. He just wanted to win, and he'd done everything possible to win, and he had good people skills. And he just had that knack of just knowing when to put people in and when to take people out of the team, and that worked for the team and to become successful. But it always came back to the work ethic and desire that he's got to be successful.
With regard to how he related to players, the impression that we on the outside get is that he was quite capable of being very intimidating in the dressing room. Were you afraid of him?
No, he wasn't afraid of him. He just he demanded that you go out there and give it your all. And if you didn't, then he'd find it out, he'd notice, and he'd let you know. Or if you wasn't playing the way you're capable of, he didn't like that. And it wasn't a fear thing, because I don't think players play well under a fearful manager. I think it's more of you had the huge respect for him, and you wanted to go out there and play for him and give him everything.
Now, he of course has enormous shoes to fill. Do you tremble at times for David Moyes, who has to face this big challenge?
No, I think anyone who's coming in was going to have to fill big shoes. But what I see in a new manager is that he's enthusiastic, he's hungry, he wants to win, he wants to become a good part of the club's history, and he wants to be here for a long period of time. And I think that he's surrounded himself with some really good coaches as well. The continuity with Giggsy being appointed on the coaching staff as well, alongside Phil Neville, people that know the club inside out, I think is a good move. And we're all hoping he does well, because if he does well, that means we win more trophies. A good thing with the new manager is that I think he acknowledges what's gone on before him. I think somebody to come in and just try and really just change everything and throw everything to one side, especially after you've won the league that year before, would be naive and wouldn't be the correct way to do things. I think he's come in, he's very level-headed, and he understands that there's a history in the football club, and I'm sure he wants to be a good part of that history. So to do that, he's going to keep a lot of the things that are in place there and just tweak a few things, and he's going about that.
What is that tradition and history? Because the Manchester United name does have a certain respect, and that is partly in the way of playing. Manchester United has very rarely in the past played defensively. They always play a very vibrant attacking game. Is that important to the manager now? Is it still important to the
Yeah. From what we've seen so far, there's no change in that. He's going to keep true to the spirit of the club. It's what the fans demand, it's what the players love, and I'm sure the new manager, I mean, if you look at his sides, there was never really an all-out defensive team when he was at Everton. He had a team that could go out there and score 3 and 4 goals sometimes, but could also be quite stingy in letting goals in. So I'm hoping he brings a bit of that to us as well, consolidates on what we've got, and hopefully we can continue to be successful.
A little bit on Rio Ferdinand as a man. Now, Rio, you are an active person, especially on social media, against racism. Is there a real racism problem in football? I'm talking about in both areas, on the field and in the terraces.
I think more than anything, I just think socially that it needs to be combated. I think sport is a good tool to raise awareness, but in terms of stamping it out, sport won't do that. It's a social issue that needs to be dealt with by parents, teachers, people in positions of power need to be speaking up and doing a lot of things to make sure that people see that ignorance isn't wanted around the world, and for the world to be a better place, hate and ignorance like that needs to be kind of stamped out. But sport is a good tool, it's a powerful tool, but it's not going to be just the thing the overriding factor that stops it, and I think we need to, the sooner we realise that, the better.
But you're saying it still goes on?
It does. I think that's been quite obvious and quite evident in the last year or so, not just in football but other sports as well, and I think the sooner that the powers that be come down on it hard and show that there's zero tolerance, then you might have a knock-on effect around stadiums and within football clubs and etc.
Now I want to talk about the Australians, if I may, seeing that's where you are, Rio. You played with 2 great Australian players, of course, in Mark Viduka and Harry Kewell. Assess them for me. Viduka first.
Viduka, I think, should have gone on to play for a Man United top 4 team.
He nearly did, you know that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure he's gutted he didn't. I think he was, for me, he was such a talent for me. He was a great player, physically commanding, strong, aggressive, but with great feet, especially for a big man, but great feet in any player. I knew where the goal was. I just don't know why he didn't go to a top team. I mean, Leeds was a great club, but to win trophies and to be successful, I don't know, it just baffles me how he didn't get to play for a team like that.
And Harry Kewell, at his peak, which was at Leeds?
Yeah, I mean, Harry Kewell, it was unfortunate because when I went to Leeds, he'd had a bit of an Achilles injury, and it took him a long while to get back from that, and I was only there a year and a few months, so I probably didn't see the best of him the year before I got there. I mean, he was dazzling everyone. He was doing stuff that Bale's doing now, tearing people apart, quick, direct, great left foot, and he's another one probably who to have gone on and won more than what he won. He had the ability to do that.
Now, can I ask you just a couple of questions that were sent in to us by the fans? Yeah. And the first one is, many of our Facebook fans have asked whether you'd ever consider playing in Australia after your time with United is up, or do you think you'll retire there?
I don't know. It depends how my legs are. If Manchester United want me to keep on playing until my legs fall off, then obviously I won't be coming to Australia. But if Manchester United said no to me, but I still felt I had something to contribute, then I'd be very open to, especially after coming here at the moment.
Short, in one word, best player you played with?
I can't put it in one word.
2,
Paul
3.
Scholes and Cristiano Ronaldo.
And to defend against?
Raul.
Now, a few just very quick fire questions, just finally, Rio. One word answers will do. What does the A stand for in the A-League?
Australian.
Good. How many teams are there in the A-League?
Oh, 12. 10.
10. Does the name Ange Postecoglou mean anything to you?
No.
He's the coach of the team you're playing against on Saturday. Which Australian club did Dwight York play for?
Here, no. Sydney.
Sydney FC, correct. Which of the following is not an A-League team name? Roar, Victory, Glory, Growl.
Raw.
Wrong, I'm afraid. Growl. It's
Growl.
Growl. But it'll probably happen in the near future. Rio Ferdinand, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.